Hello guys, it's Jared here and I'm going to review the third film in the Shrek series, Shrek the Third. So again, thanks to Anthony Ford for suggesting me to review the Shrek films, and I'd like to quickly mention Larry King, who is the voice of Doris, one of the ugly stepsisters in the Shrek movies, died yesterday, so rest in peace to him. But what's interesting is in the UK version of Shrek 2, Doris is actually voiced by Jonathan Ross instead of Larry King. But in the UK version of the third one, they kept the original Larry King version, so that's kind of interesting. But so basically the plot of Shrek the Third is that we have King Harold, who's turned into a frog. Well, he turned back into a frog at the end of the second one, and he's basically died, and basically Shrek and Fiona are next in line to the throne, and Shrek doesn't want to be king, so he goes out to find Arthur, who's voiced by Justin Timberlake. And he wants Arthur to be king, and we also have Prince Charming from the last movie, basically recruiting, all these villains to seek revenge. Now, this film is one that a lot of people hate, and honestly, I mean, it's not a movie that I love or anything. It's not like the first two, but I wouldn't say I hate it as much as other people. I mean, I don't love it, I don't hate it. For me, it's a film that's just kind of there. But I remember even as a kid seeing this in the cinema. I remember even being kind of disappointed by the very beginning of it, by the fact that it doesn't start with the storybook opening. And Prince Charming was really, really funny in the second one. Where basically the whole joke of him was, how pathetic he is, and yet he's a really funny character, but having him as the main villain doesn't really work too well. I mean, he does have some funny moments in the third one, honestly, but he works a lot better as a side villain than the main villain, and I think in general, the humour is just kind of off, and I mean, and another thing, Fiona is the one who's next in line for the throne. I mean, Shrek's only royalty through the marriage, so I mean, shouldn't Fiona be the one to choose if she doesn't want to be queen or whatever? Why is it they have to find Arthur to be king just because Shrek doesn't want to be king? And what's kind of interesting though is Arthur is voiced by Justin Timberlake, and there's a bit in the second one where you see a picture that says Sir Justin, which the picture is supposed to be of Justin Timberlake, so it's kind of interesting that. And another thing, the soundtrack just isn't as good as the first two. I mean, I know a soundtrack doesn't make a movie good or bad, but the first two I thought had really good soundtracks, so much that I actually own the CDs of the soundtracks for the first two films. But honestly, the soundtrack for the third one isn't as great. I mean, Live and Let Die is a great Bond theme, but it's why is that playing over a funeral scene? Live and Let Die is a Bond theme. Why are you playing a Bond theme over a funeral scene? Is it just because it says die in the title? What's kind of interesting is you kind of have two Monty Python members in this. Obviously you have John Cleese as King Harold, but you also have Eric Idle as Merlin the Wizard. Merlin's kind of funny. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, some of the humour in this film I think is kind of funny, but a lot of the humour is kind of off. And I mean, and it's the ending when all the villains become good because Arthur talks to them. It's really, like, this is how you defeat all these, big bad villains. What's kind of interesting is, like, in this film, Shrek says to Arthur, my dad was an ogre, he tried to eat me, and there was a line in the second one where King Harold said, that is assuming you don't eat your own young. So I guess he was right that ogres eat their own young, but there's a side plot in this about Fiona being pregnant, and Shrek has like a nightmare about having lots of baby ogres, and it's really weird. And then in his nightmare he's like naked at graduation, and then he imagines Donkey and Puss in Boots as being baby ogres, and it's kind of weird. I will say one moment which I found really funny was there's this subplot that when Merlin transports them, that Puss and Donkey get switched up, and there's a part because in the other film, Puss in Boots always has this thing where he looks cute like this, and Puss in Boots tries doing the cute thing when he's in Donkey's body, and it's really funny because it's not exactly cute coming from a donkey, as much as it is coming from a cat. So overall, Shrek the Third, I don't hate it as much as some other people do, but I mean, I can definitely see why this one is not as popular as the first two, and I do thankfully think that the fourth one is an improvement over the third one. But Shrek the Third, it's an alright movie, I guess. Thanks for watching this review, and stay tuned for my review of Shrek Forever After. Bye.